Gon' kick it off then. Whoa. Gon' kick it off then. It ain't a game, kick it off then. Whoa. So gon' kick it off then. Huh? What we talking about, it goes deep.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching GSP in the Network, the final episode of 2021 of WTF Too, Women Talk Football Too. And we all hope that you enjoyed your Christmas very safe, very relaxed. And I know a lot of you kind of rebounding with those wallets and pocketbooks there with those expenses, but nonetheless, hope that you all enjoyed. And we dedicate this episode to the late, great, legendary, trailblazing John Madden, who unexpectedly passed away this last week of December. And I am accompanied by my amazing, talented, dope, gorgeous, and just absolutely wonderful co-host. Let the good people know who you are.
What's up, good people? It's your girl, the one, the only touchdown tomboy. Just to put my plug out there, y'all just get ready. I think I'm gonna jump out into the deep at the beginning of the year and do some things. Going forward, I ain't quite figured out what my channel is gonna be named yet, but I'm sick of people talking about, you need to do something else. But it's not gonna just be football. It's gonna be some other things too. That I'm very passionate about. So I'm just put that plug out there. So y'all hopefully look for that in the new year.
Also, when you got the house stuff, and you definitely got to talk about that. You have a very balanced and loving relationship. Of course, you could always kind of floss that too.
Yeah. So I think for me, I want to kind of go down a lane that I've kind of been hesitant about, but everybody has been getting on me about it. So I don't know if you know, but like my I don't like to say hobby, because hobbies sound like you do them like sparingly. But something that I'm very passionate about on the side is I've just truly, in the last, since the pandemic began, I've really take a real big interest in investing. And so that's something I've been doing. So, I'm big on that. And then I'm big on, like my healthy type lifestyle and things like that. So I think I'm kind of going to move in that direction. And if I can get my husband to pop in on a couple, we might have some relationship conversations. But yeah, so I think it's going to move in that direction. And then, of course, I can't do something like that and not talk about football. It's just going to come up because that's in me. That's just my pastime. But yeah, so I'm hoping I'll see what the new year brings, and hopefully I can get it launched this year and stop dragging my feet on it.
Well, the new year, of course it's cliche, but new year, new beginnings. It's a great time to do it. Like making that like the starting line. Absolutely. Go for it. Yeah, 2022.
I'm gonna try to jump out there in the deep, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, plant those seeds, absolutely. No doubt. And we're seeing the reigning AFC and NFC champions return to form, a possible repeat battle. Long way to go on that, but a possible repeat battle. Although Green Bay might have something to say about that.
Yep.
Matt Rule ruffling some feathers with the Jay-Z comparison. But hey, interestingly enough, Timberland and Swiss Beats, there might be your next versus battle right there. That was too funny. Lamar Jackson missing practice once again.
I told you.
Definitely. The Dolphins, we've seen them actually lose 7 straight. Now they turned around and won 7 straight. First team in history to do so. And they've also landed themselves a wild card spot temporarily. We'll see how that goes as well. Jimmy Garoppolo suffered a chipped bone and fracture in his right thumb. Now his status is uncertain, not just with the last 2 games of the season, but maybe even his status and future with the 49ers. We'll be taking a look at that. The Bills return the favor to the Patriots. They win one on the road, and that win that they got against the Patriots, that actually put them on top of the AFC East. We'll see how long that lasts as well. And speaking of Lamar Jackson, the Ravens have lost 4 straight, and there's a glaring losing streak by another early season powerhouse, and we'll discuss them in one of the quarters later on. Only 2 more games to fix those streak, guys, so let's dive on into the first quarter. Now, the NBA, they had a full playoff series and the finals in a bubble in the 2020 season. And most importantly, during that time, they had no cases. Now, with the playoffs on deck for the NFL, the cases rising, the variants spreading, training facilities closing, coaches getting a hold of this, players getting a hold of this, of the COVID. How can the NFL tackle COVID going down the stretch, touchdown tomboy, and heading to the postseason?
So, I'm really a big advocate for, just knowledge is power. And one of the things that I think that the NFL can really, really focus on doing is not so much, putting them in a bubble, because when you put it works for the NBA because, you have 12 or 13 players per team, and then your coaches or whatever else. But with the NFL, you have a 53-man roster. That's going to be darn near impossible. But what you can do is maybe potentially go and put them back like in a training camp type mode where they are isolated to just the team, just the staff and the coaches. And then that way it's just them amongst each other, and you limit their exposure to the outside. So that would be something that I would advocate for, kind of like what a lot of teams do in terms of like their preseason, they go away to training camps. So they have their training camps right there where their facilities are, and they basically house them there, and they limit their exposure to the outside. And that's one of the ways, the biggest way I feel like you can contain it is you keep everybody in house, and you keep all the stuff in house, and then you can kind of limit the outbreak that way. But if they're going home every night and then they have spouses and children, and you don't know who these people have been around, and since it's spreading so fast and they can't control it, then the only way you can do it is basically in a form of isolation. So I think that's going to be the best method going down the stretch. Not so much a bubble, but isolating the 53-man rosters to a certain area for that specific team that they have to be housed together for the duration or the stretch of the playoffs, and limit it that way. That's what I think is going to be the best plan of action going forward.
Yeah, you're right. The thing is, the NFL industry, it is a lot more difficult to have that bubble with the huge adjustment, the huge increase of players on the team versus how it is in the NBA. But agreeing with you as far as maybe not the word bubble per se, but there has to be some isolation. You bring up a good point, like how they have it with the training camps. I mean, like, for example, the Panthers, they were training at Wolford College, and they had them actually stay in dorms, and they actually sleep on the campus and things like that. I think that the NFL, this is $1 billion industry that we're talking about, so they can definitely afford to make an adjustment. They might need to look into something like that, but some isolation, some type of quarantine for the teams is going to be necessary. Because you'd hate for the playoffs to start and then like, oh gosh, there's 10 players that get it, and like you really don't have the flexibility or the time to postpone a game, move it to a Tuesday in the postseason like you did in the regular season. I mean, the Super Bowl has already been pushed back a week, not like that, but because in 2020 they implemented a new playoff, the way the playoffs were set up. So now that we have 7 teams on each conference, that has added another week in the playoffs. And so therefore the Super Bowl has been pushed back. Now, I don't think we're going to have a lot more room to keep pushing it back, especially when you're dealing with COVID, because now you're starting to talk about ads and, promotional stuff and Super Bowl halftime performances. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not saying it's impossible to tweak this stuff, but it really becomes a lot bigger of an inconvenience if that breakout does happen during postseason than preventing it beforehand. I mean, even just looking at the point where, like, let's just hypothetically say, you get like a team that's on a bye week. The fact that they're on a bye week, like the 1 seeds, who's to say what they'll do in the time that they're on the bye week? Mm-hmm. They could still get it and not even be playing. Do you penalize them even though they got the number 1 seed? Like, do you make them give up the home field just to the fact that, because players have gotten COVID, like, are they going to have to move the game where the game is? I mean, I would even consider maybe not even like with the fans, because the thing is, if you look in the stands and the fans, there's no social distancing there. I mean, Roger Goodell said at the beginning of the season, he wanted full capacity. I think that right there be increasing some of the spread, because right after the game, you know, like some of the players, they go up there, they throw their gloves, they go shake hands with the fans. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but I'm just saying that needs to be monitored and possibly constrained as well, especially with the variants coming along and the way that the spread is just rapidly growing. There has to be some handcuffing here. COVID has changed everything. And I know people might think like, no, we don't want to do that. We already went through that in 2020. We already with the fans, and we already went through so many changes in 2020. But hey, COVID changed things, and things still aren't all the way back to where they were. They never will be. I mean, we've already had to make adjustments. From now on, there's going to have to be adjustments going forward. That's just the world that we live in now, since COVID has happened. And I think it's very selfless if we continue to have a disregard for COVID, acting like everything's just normal and just doing things how we've been doing. I don't think that there's any way possible that it can continue to happen. And like I was saying, like, we're dealing with a postseason that is 1 month long, where you really don't have a lot of room. You really don't have a big window to make a lot of changes and adjustments. So I say that we try to get a hold on it, grasp on it, and make the adjustments now before postseason comes, as opposed to something going really, really weird during postseason. And then you got to scatter and scamper and try to come up with stuff. Now, I think that this is the time with these 2 games left from regular season. I think now is the time to really game plan and set up something and make these adjustments and make the announcement, so that way there's the preparation, the plan ready for going into the postseason. Now, moving on to the second quarter, the team with the last undefeated record in the league, the Arizona Cardinals. Once upon a time, they started off 7-0. Now they're on a 3-game losing streak. And my goodness, that was not that long ago, but it seems like a long time ago. What's happening in Arizona, touchdown time boy, and how could it be fixed for them to make a playoff run?
So what I don't want to say is I don't want to say that the offense has been predictable, but I do want to say that there have been some changes offensively that they're missing. So you know now that they're missing DeAndre Hopkins, okay? And he's a big part of their offense. And with him being a big part of their offense and he's out due to hamstring, they're not even sure if he's going to come back this season or if he's even going to be in the postseason. That means that everybody else that would have been that are there would have to step up and actually help help the Cardinals and help Kyler Murray to actually, I guess, to help fill the void of DeAndre not being there. Prime example. The other day when they were playing, was it the Colts? I think they played the Colts. I didn't even realize that AJ Green was on the team until like the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game. So I'm like, you go and you went to Cincinnati and you got AJ Green. He's a big target, you know. He can get up and he can contest those balls. You got to utilize him more. With DeAndre Hopkins being out, you got to get more use out of him. You got to get more use out of James Conner now. You have to use him more as a dual back now, not just a running back, but as a back that can catch out of the backfield as well. Because now that you're missing DeAndre Hopkins, there are players around him that's going to have to step up. In addition to the offense stepping up, and Kyler is going to have to step up. Y'all going to have to help Kyler because, I mean, let's think about it. Kyler is already doing a lot with his legs to extend these plays. And then on top of that, now you're going to put him in a position where he doesn't even have receivers. So here's the thing. Y'all want to be in the postseason? AJ Green, you got to step up. They brought you to Arizona to be a run opposite of him. You say that you're a number 1 receiver. I'm going to need to see it because I ain't seen it yet. James Conner, you said you wanted to be a versatile back, so you need to start catching the ball out of the backfield, and y'all got to help Kyler. Kyler can't be out here just running around like a video game. Like, he needs help. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's saying, well, Kyler throwing interceptions. Well, Kyler is throwing interceptions because he ain't got nobody to throw the ball to, and he can't just run it off himself. That's how he got injured the first time, because he's running all over the place trying to make plays when he got a team full of other people. Yes, DeAndre is out. I get it. He is a stud. But there are other studs on that team that can step up and help Kyler on the offensive side of the ball. And then the other thing is the defensive side of the ball has gotten a little lax. I haven't heard much from Budda Baker. And Chandler Jones looked good the other day finally, but in some of those previous games, I didn't even know Chandler Jones was still on the team. So I need consistency out of the defensive side of the ball as well. So the same moves that they were making in the first 8 games, they need to make that in the second 8 games. That defense needs to come up, step up, be able to stop the run, okay? Because they won't able to shut Jonathan Taylor down. They got to be able to stop the run, and they got to be able to defend the pass. You got those studs on the defense now. They got to step up, do their job, get pressure on the quarterback, and get some sacks out of here, okay? And that's what's got to be done. You can't ask Kyler to do all of this work and y'all got a team full of people and nobody's doing their job. Everybody got to do their job. That's how they want to go far. Everybody got to step up and do their job and help fill the void of DeAndre not being there offensively, period. And the defense should just be doing their job anyway and stopping the run because the defense has been a lot lax lately.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up Chandler Jones because remember week 1, he personally sacked Ryan Tannehill like 5 times by himself, and I think his sack count sat on that for quite some time. I don't think he has many more sacks since I think
his sacks is like 11, which was interesting to me because I guess because he was on a winning team, which was interesting to me because I think they consider him to be an outside linebacker. And that's why I felt like Hassan Reddick got snubbed because they picked Chandler over Hassan. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, Hassan has been way more consistent. His stat line has been better, but because Chandler is on a winning team, that's typically how they pick it.
Yeah, that's true. Sad but true. Yeah, you're right about that. And of course, like the saying goes, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And Arizona, they did get off to that desert hot 7-0 start. Before Green Bay, of course, popped the pin in that balloon, and now look at Green Bay. They're the number 1 seed in the NFC at the moment. So it seems like it's been a reverse in roles there. And with the injuries to Kyler Murray and season-ending injuries to T.J. Watt and, of course, DeAndre Hopkins, as you alluded to, they haven't been a threatening powerhouse that they once were. Now, in addition to the injuries, I'm looking at something else being a factor as to why Arizona has kind of gone down a rabbit hole here. When all the college coaches debacles came out, Cliff Kingsbury's name came back up into like, oh, maybe he should go back to college. And it seems like people were trying to entertain him and secure him. And then, of course, Arizona flashed out this, they threw out this big flashy, we're going to give him a $20 million extension, and this, that, and the third. And honestly, I think that was an unnecessary jinx because, I understand you want to keep him around, but he also ain't won no hardware. He ain't got no division titles. He just got there. So let's not jump off on the deep end and try to offer all of that just based off of the fact that his name is getting flung out there. Let's make him earn that. Like, let's make his resume speak for that. And I honestly feel like, again, by y'all putting it out there, some unnecessary pressure and an unnecessary jinx came on him. But also, this doesn't surprise me with Arizona because speaking of Kingsbury and dating back to his time with Texas Tech, Kingsbury's record is 42-20-1 in the first 7 games of the season, games 1 through 7. That's for both teams. Now, the rest of the games, 16-43. So this start that he has, this explosive start, and then this really just dead end that he has, not surprising. And here we are again. He's right back to where he started. So I commend Arizona for giving him the chance, but this resume that he's had is speaking for itself. There's no surprise there that Arizona's in the position that they're in. Now, luckily, the 3-game losing streak, they still have a spot in the playoffs and could make a playoff run. But these last 2 games, they go to Dallas, a red hot Dallas team, by the way, and they play Seattle last. Now, granted, Seattle's not the same Seattle that they used to be, but Seattle ain't going to the playoffs. They would love to play spoilers and have Arizona join them and not going to the playoffs too. Plus, they're playing Arizona at home. Arizona has not been that good at home. So, hey, you got to watch these last 2 games with Arizona. Now, if they do happen to keep a postseason spot, as you alluded to, the other players have to step up. Like you said, AJ Green, definitely a shell of his former self that we've seen at Cincinnati. You might have thought that it had to be, oh, it was Marvin Lewis or it was Andy Dalton. No, it seems like maybe it was AJ Green because he's been missing. And James Conner, yeah, the production in the end zone, the touchdowns are great. But like you said, you've got to expand his ability. Like he can't just be a 1 yard red zone producer. Just right there, just putting him in those particular situations. You've got to set him up some screens and have him catch passes out of the backfield, like you said. He's got to have some versatility, some range in order for your Arizona Cardinals to succeed. And Zach Ertz, we need Philly's Zach Ertz. Where's the Zach Ertz that caught the touchdown to give Philly their only Super Bowl? Where is that guy? I mean, is it going to take we got to send some Philly cheesesteaks out there to get you back on track, buddy? Because I'm just saying, like, where is that Zach Ertz at? So it's very important that these pieces step up. Arizona has been a darling story. We all turned into Tyra Banks. We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. And here you go. You're going kerplunk now. You lost 3 out of the last 4 games. You're nursing a 5 seed in the playoffs. And again, these last 2 games are going to be a really, really telltale sign of what happens to you. So if you do get to the playoffs, do exactly what Shalika and I have been talking about. It's very important that you incorporate those other pieces and bail Kyler Murray out. In the defense, you have to get back to being as stingy as you were at the beginning of the season. And Cliff Kingsbury, let's get that role reverse. Let's get some role reversal going on with that resume there on how you do down the stretch.
We rooting for you, Cliff. We want to see you win, but you got to do better.
Absolutely got to do better. We are rooting for you, like Tyra Banks said. All right, touchdown time, boy. What you got for us with your halftime presentation?
Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. You know, I love it when we are in sync, okay? Typically we have been going on like doing our series about the origin of the NFL and where it came and how teams were derived. But I wanted to take a pause from that because you can't listen. You can't talk about the NFL without talking about John Madden. And so I wanted to give y'all a brief overview of why John Madden is so special to us in the football world, okay?
Amen.
So, and then I'm gonna give you a cool nugget that you would not have known about because I always find out cool nuggets because here we go. Yeah. So of course, John Madden was a coach for 10 seasons with the Raiders, and they won the Super Bowl in 1977. And right after he retired from being a coach, because he was with the Raiders for the 10th season, after he retired his 10th season, he actually became a sportscaster. And that's what kind of propelled his whole sportscasting career as the great John Madden. And so and he started that in 1979, and he did that from 1979 to 2009, and he won 16 Emmys for being a sportscaster. That's crazy. 16 Emmys, okay? And so what most people don't realize is how did the Madden series arrive? So the John Madden football series arrived because it was an Apple II, so it was on computers first. So Apple wanted to derive a game similar to a best ball game that they had already had. Now, here's the fun fact. The fun fact is originally John Madden was not the person that they asked to do the sportscasting. They actually asked Joe Montana first. And Joe Montana turned it down because he was already working with Atari at the time. So everybody remembers the Atari. And then after him, they asked Joe Cap. And Joe Cap asked for too much money. So they ended up asking John Madden because they didn't think John Madden was going to say yes. But John Madden said, okay, I'll do it because I think this is that the Madden football would be a great way to teach people the technicals and the developments of football. And so that's what made him get into it. And that's how John Madden, which is now called Madden, derived and came about. And it is today because John Madden said yes when the others said no, because he wanted it to be a teaching tool. So John Madden was a coach at heart. So that's how it was derived. And he helped them to actually develop it so that it was like a teaching tool. So that's why you see John Madden football or Madden football as you see it today, because a lot of the schematics came from John Madden himself, which is why he's still a legend to this day, why Madden football is still a legend to itself. And of course, you know, it went on to be now on every type of video game out there. It went from computers to now it's on PlayStations to Xboxes to everything you can name. And the reason being is because it evolves over time because of what John Madden was able to do as a coach, his great skill set, what he was able to offer to the game, and as a bomb sportscaster. And so we're going to miss John Madden. And I'm telling you, the NFL would not be what it is without John Madden. And John Madden is one of the only coaches that is never had a losing season as a coach, one. And it was only one other coach that never had a losing season. He's one of the only coaches that never had a losing season. And he was one of the only sportscasters to work for every network. So he's worked for Fox, he's worked for NBC, ABC, and for CBS. He worked for all of them. So John Madden was a legend on every level. And football would not be what football is today without John Madden. So John Madden, man, we're going to miss you. We thank you for all that you did, all that you gave to football. And I remember, because me and my brothers, we played football, Madden. My husband plays Madden now sometimes. And it's like you still see the evolution of what John Madden brought to the game. And I'm so grateful for that. And we will always miss him. And may he rest in peace, the late, great John Madden.
Absolutely. That was a beautiful tribute. And of course, as always, you're bringing so much insight and knowledge with your gems and research there. And it's funny that you say that too about him wanting to be teachable with it, because that was really the only reason why I brought Madden. I never brought Madden to really play it or, you know, the back and forth, like, oh, hop on and get on the sticks and let's bet. I never bought Madden for that. I actually bought Madden because I got tired of printing out rules and routes and the difference between like a bubble screen and a smoke screen. Mm-hmm. I got tired of like printing that stuff out. Where Madden, you could go to like the demo mode and it would tell you the X and O's and it would tell you the pass that would be taken and what the running back would be doing, or I formation, or this, that, and the third, or if a quarterback was lined up in shotgun. I literally learned all of that from the Madden demo part. That was the only reason why I ever bought Madden video games, was to get taught like that, because I got tired of really like printing out. I wasn't getting what I needed from books or from printing it out at the library. John Madden's video games gave me the visual, held my hand, and broke it down for me. And that's why it meant so much to me. And then when I started covering football on the radio, the name Joan Madden, that was my radio tagline name. That's where Joan Madden came from. It was a spoof and a tribute to John Madden, because again, he was the reason why I learned formations and routes with the game. So he means a lot to me personally as well. And again, that's really why I started going by Joan Madden, just gratefully off of what John Madden's video games and John Madden, the coach and the broadcaster, had taught me. I mean, there's no other tandem, you know. Joe Buck is good, or Troy Aikman, all great, they're all fine, but there's no duo. I mean, even going back to Howard Cosell days, of course, I didn't live in that era, but I've seen the highlights, but nobody could touch Pat Summerall and John Madden, that tandem. I will fight you. I'll put money on it. Those are my guys. That's my era, that's my generation, and they're untouchable to me. And so, yeah, definitely rest in paradise to the iconic John Madden. Died unexpectedly. I'm glad that they did the Christmas special on him, of course, a couple of days before he died. I don't think that was like a seen it coming, because they said John Madden died unexpectedly, but I'm glad that he got his flowers. That was a very special piece they did on him on Christmas, and I definitely want to watch it again. And so, yeah, absolutely good stuff. Thanks again, Touchdown Tomboy, for the beautiful insight and words. So, yeah, absolutely. Wow, hard to pick up after that. Good stuff. But nonetheless, resuming with the third quarter here, Anthony Lynn, former coach of the Chargers. Now, he was fired by them for losing close games and giving up leads. Now, Brandon Stanley has done the same thing, especially at home against the Cowboys, the Vikings, the Patriots, the Chiefs in overtime, and almost to the Steelers. And he had a bad loss to Houston this past week, who, by the way, has a minority head coach. Just want to put that out there. But that was also a game that the Chargers should have won. So do we have ourselves a little Matt Patricia, Jim Caldwell situation here? Is Stanley on the chopping block? Are they creating a new narrative here, T-Square? What you think?
No, I don't. I mean, I like Anthony Lynn, and I like Anthony Lynn, and I know, you know, what Staley is doing, Brandon Staley is doing over there. But I think the whole thing is yes, it's true that the same thing is absolutely happening. But the interesting thing is that at the end of the day, Staley has only been there. This is like his second year, right?
Yes.
So typically they at least give them at least 2.5 to 3 years before they just give them the boot. And so, and at least that's what I've seen to be the norm. Very few organizations kick people out after 2 years unless they're just horrible, but they are winning some. And so I think that they'll give him one more year. I just feel like that's what they'll do, just because that's just what most organizations are doing. And but do I think that they are the same? They could have just kept Anthony Lynn, absolutely. But I think that they'll at least give him one more year to excel. If not, then they'll probably move on from him too. So I don't know if it's a thing of the Jim. Now the whole thing with Jim Caldwell is Matt Patricia was significantly worse versus, you know, like, because you know they won't even win it at all. Versus like with, at least with Brandon Staley, they are winning. They're about the same as what they were doing with Anthony Lynn. So I don't see like a big difference in the two, but I think they're trying to win. And so I think they'll give him one more year. If he doesn't excel next year, then he'll be out the door. And I think that was the biggest difference with, now I think with some other stuff going on with the Jim Caldwell, Matt Patricia thing. But because that didn't even make sense, because the season that they fired Caldwell was the best that they had ever done. So I feel like that was a whole different narrative versus with Anthony Lynn, they were starting to struggle in different areas. But I mean, does Staley's offense look any better? Absolutely not. But I think they'll give him another year.
But I think Anthony Lynn had 3 years too, right?
I don't know. I will look that up. I think he was there for 3 years. That's why I'm saying I think they'll give him 3 years.
That's
I'm
interesting.
gonna let you know right now because I'm gonna look it up. I think he was there for 3 years.
And so we're going into Staley's. Well, after this one, it'll be
next year. Will be his 3rd year, right?
Believe so too, yeah. Because I really like not just picking on this particular franchise, but I really think that there is a black and white issue here with coaching. And it's starting to become more and more.
Yeah, evident. He was there for 3 years. They gave him 3 years.
Okay. And so now we're finishing up Staley's 2nd year. And it's like the league is filled with 70% of Black players. And it seems like these owners and GMs are kind of saying like, oh, we trust you to entertain us on the field, but we don't trust you enough to be head coaches. I mean, because we're talking about 32 professional NFL teams. We're talking about 32 professional football teams here. And we got 5 minority coaches. That ratio is so disproportionate. It's unbelievable. It's downright disrespectful. And
whoa. This is his 1st year.
Oh, this is Staley's 1st year?
Mm-hmm. He became the head coach in 2021.
I thought he was there for 2 years, but okay. Interesting. Okay, so he gets a little bit longer of a leash then. But the thing is, if these are the real reasons why they said that Anthony Lynn was fired because he couldn't win the close games or he couldn't win at home, so far Staley's off to that same start. So we'll see. But I thought he was actually there for 2 years. But nonetheless, you know, it really bothers me. Again, like with like a Matt Patricia and a Jim Caldwell, where Jim Caldwell actually got Detroit to the playoffs. And of course, Matt Patricia did not even have a winning season. for Detroit. And I'm going to give Dan Campbell a pass because I like Dan Campbell, so I'm not even associating him with this. But I just don't understand. Like, Jim Caldwell got such a short, he didn't even get a chance to really, I think he was there 4 seasons. To be honest, I really don't think that's a lot of time, because you usually have a coordinator change, some quarterback changes, and you got to take that into consideration. You're starting stuff over from scratch. And I don't think that it's fair for you to completely hold the coach accountable when you have these other changes come about. I just really think that they got rid of him prematurely. And I'm so glad the Matt Patricia thing blew up in their face. So they just thought like, oh, this is from the Belichick tree. This is going to work. And I'm so glad that it did. But I'm just really starting to get tired of, it seems like, I mean, even looking at Arizona's former coach, he came from y'all's staff. Steve something, right? Arizona had a head coach for like 1 year before Cliff Kingsbury. I think he came from Carolina. Black guy, 1 year. He was on the coaching staff for 1 year. And I just really seem like the minorities get a little bit more of a shorter leash than their Caucasian counterparts. And it's not fair. And I'm really going to be putting this one under a microscope, because if these are the reasons why you said you got rid of Anthony Lynn, you have to treat Brandon Staley the exact same way. And you need and give him 3 years, just like you gave Anthony Lynn. And honestly, right now, if the playoffs started today, the Chargers aren't in it. They're not. They're not like a 7th wild card. No, they're on the outside looking. I think they're an 8th seed. And personally, because I want this to blow up in their face, I hope the Chargers don't win with Staley. Because I want to see how they treat Staley, and if they're going to do the same thing that they did with Anthony Lynn, or if they're going to try to change the narrative, or if they're going to pacify Staley because he's a little bit younger, or like their quarterback's younger. Also, Anthony Lynn had an aging Phillip Rivers. Like, did y'all not take that into consideration as well? And then the way that the doctor did Tyrod Taylor with the punctured lung, y'all didn't consider that, none of that. That's what I'm saying. Like, they have shorter leashes, and to me, it's not fair. So I'm going to be monitoring this Brandon Staley. I'm putting this under a microscope.
But I think it's so funny, even with you saying that, though. I think it's so funny because if you look at it, Anthony Lynn didn't get an opportunity until Justin Herbert came along to draft his own quarterback. He went and got Justin Herbert, and he didn't even get to work with him.
He get a chance with him. I'm telling you. I mean, even the Tyrod Taylor stuff is fishy to me with the Chargers organization. But like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, "Go Chargers, go." That's my. I'm saying the same thing. Go Chargers, go. When I say go Chargers, go, I mean go keep on losing, and don't get to the playoffs, and don't get to the postseason, and all of that. Because I want this to blow up in your face. I want to see how y'all treat Staley versus Lynn. Like, another versus battle, Timberland and Swiss Beats. Anthony Lynn versus Brandon Staley with the coaching. I'm gonna be watching this. So yeah, I hope it doesn't happen, because
well, it's a whole lot of that going on, and I'm not gonna talk about my team, but we have the same issue in Carolina. And so, that's a whole different beast for a different day, but it's happening all around the league. And
I just think coaching.
Not just in coaching, but in players too. I mean, you think about it, you look at what they did. They said Teddy Bridgewater isn't a guy, but Teddy Bridgewater looks significantly better than Sam Darnold does. And so much so that he was playing so bad that they went back and picked up the franchise quarterback that they dropped off because they didn't even want to see him under center because Sam has been so bad. But now that Sam's back, we're back to coddling the behavior. So they have a mess in Carolina because of that. But that's a different story for a different day. But it's happening all around the league. I mean, I just feel like in general that our athletes or minority athletes are just treated very differently. So the same passes that they give the Tom Brady's and the Aaron Rodgers, they're not going to give those passes to Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson. They're not going to give those guys those passes. So, I mean, that's just the narrative, which is why as much as I love football, I kind of felt like that we were not going to be on level ground until we owned some of our own stuff. And that's why I felt like we needed minority owners And in addition to minority owners, for that, so much so they kind of needed to do what they did in the NBA and be like, we're not playing, because the NFL is almost 80% Black people. So if they don't go out there and play, what are they gonna do?
Yeah, that's
but
true.
They have to have the heart to do it like the NBA did to really get what they want out the deal. See, the NBA players, they said, well, they stuck to their guns no matter what. And that's why they're in the driver's seat now. But I'm not sure that the people in football are going to have that same momentum to say, you know what, it's about principle to us. We want to be treated fairly. We want to be done correctly. We don't want all this favoritism. And until they decide that they're going to stand their ground and say, no, we're not taking this, we want to be treated the same way.
Yeah.
Then it's a lost cause.
Dang, and I forgot Didi tried to buy y'all too. That would have been dope. Like, more ways than one. But yeah, definitely some more Black ownership in the NFL. That would be dope. Good insight there as usual. Yeah, so and I'm glad you brought up Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, because going here with the fourth quarter, I got a lot to say about them with that. So the MVP of the league is typically awarded to a quarterback, i.e. Tom Brady, i.e. Aaron Rodgers. But Jonathan Taylor is making a significant case, as well as Cooper Kupp. Now, what are the chances, do you think, touchdown Tomboy, that either of these guys get the coveted honor? And how wrong would the NFL be if it's not one of these two guys?
We had the perfect segue, didn't we?
Yeah, it was definitely. Great alley-oop there.
Yo, so here we go. Here's the thing. I love Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers plays very well. But when you talk about MVPs, Aaron Rodgers isn't even having a season similar to the season he had last year. These numbers are significantly less. So how is he in the MVP conversation? How is Tom in the MVP conversation? And here's the thing. I would even be happier if they gave it to a Cooper Kupp or a Jonathan Taylor, because they have the numbers to back up what they're doing. Here's the thing. Jonathan Taylor's stats. So I ain't even going to talk about Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers' stats don't even match what he did last year. And didn't he win the MVP last year?
Yeah, he
ran. His stats are worse than last year. So to me, if you're going to win the MVP, you at least got to supersede what you did the year before.
Right.
That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. He's playing okay, but you got to remember, a lot of those games ain't because Aaron Rodgers is out here just throwing dimes all over the place. That defense has stepped up significantly. And in the past few games that they have not won, where they could have lost to Baltimore, that was on John Harbaugh. That ain't had nothing, because Baltimore could have ruined it. They could have ruined it for him, okay? And it was because Aaron, it wasn't on Aaron. It was their defense had laxed on them. And they didn't expect that. So they've been winning those games more so, to me, in my opinion, because of the defense. And yes, Aaron has been complimentary, but Aaron hasn't been as good as he was last year, in my personal opinion. Now, let me tell you who should be in the MVP conversation. There is no way in God's green earth that the NFL is going to pick Aaron Rodgers and Jonathan Taylor got better numbers than the number one wide receiver in the league, which is Cooper Kupp. Ain't no way. This boy has rushed for 1,626 yards, 17 touchdowns, 5 yards a clip. You tell me what other running back in the league has done that? Because I ain't seen it.
It's been a minute.
He is, listen, in the last 7 games, with the exception of the game that they played Tampa, he's rushed for over 100 yards. When he played the number one defense, which was New England at the time, he rushed for $170. $170. And they were the number one defense.
Mm-hmm. They were like I
wanted y'all to see his numbers, because I wrote them down. When they played Miami, he rushed for 103 yards. When they played San Francisco, he rushed for 107 yards. And these ain't no little run-in-the-mill type defenses he running against. No. You know what I'm saying? New England, he had, of course, when he played Jacksonville, he had 116. When he played the Jets, he had 172. Buffalo, he had 185. Tampa was his lowest game, and he still had 83. So he was 17 yards away from 100 yards rushing in that game. Houston, he had 143. New England, he had 170. Arizona, he had 108. I don't know nobody else is doing what this dude is doing, okay? And to me, I feel like the NFL would do running backs a disservice if this guy got these kind of numbers and he does not get MVP. I'm sorry. I would be so mad because what Jonathan Taylor is doing, I don't even know if it's been done. I can't say it's been done. Maybe the 1,000 and 1,000, you know, when they did 1,000, but that's different. We talking about rushing from scrimmage.
Yeah.
17 touchdowns. Even when Marshall Faulk got his 1,000, and Christian McCaffrey got his 1,000, they didn't have that many scores. This dude got 17 touchdowns. Let me tell y'all how much he's doing. Let me tell you what Cooper Kupp numbers is. And then y'all gonna see just how much Jonathan Taylor has done. Cooper Kupp has now he's a wide receiver. So he run routes. This is what he do. Cooper Kupp got 1,734 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So you mean to tell me that Jonathan Taylor as a running back got 100 less yards and Jonathan Taylor got more touchdowns? Cooper Kupp got 14. Jonathan Taylor got 17.
Right.
Where they do that at?
So you think hands down it should be Jonathan Taylor?
Yes. Have you seen anybody else doing what he's doing? He had 5 touchdowns against Buffalo. 5.
It's been a minute. It's like, I mean, I think the last time a running back even won MVP was AP that year that he was like, he was supposed to go like that 2,000 yards or something like that.
I'm telling you,
might even got it. That was
the
last time. It's been quarterbacks that won it every single year since AP. Yeah.
What he's doing is rare. You're not gonna find it. That's the thing that I have. Like, it would be one thing if it's kind of like, Aaron is playing outside of his mind, but he's playing subpar in comparison to last year. So how do you not look at either him or Cooper? I don't know.
I know I hate the way, see, the sad part about the MVP is it started to become a popularity contest as opposed to pure talent. And, you know, Jonathan Taylor, and I mean, Jonathan Taylor's like in a smaller market, and for some reason, I feel like they don't want anybody else to get a MVP out of Indianapolis other than Peyton Manning. They want that to be untouched for Peyton Manning. Sadly, I don't know. I just feel like they want to bypass and brush by this Jonathan Taylor stuff, which it's absolutely, it's wrong.
It's a disservice to the sport.
Definitely.
And basically what you're telling them is no matter how good you are, if you're not a quarterback, you can't be an MVP.
That's terrible.
Not right.
That's terrible. And even like in Cooper Kupp's situation, there's never even been a wide receiver to win MVP. And I'm like, a few years ago, I want to say maybe 2018, Antonio Brown made a strong case to possibly, because he went on the Madden covered it next year. That's why I see it was like 2018. Antonio Brown made a strong case to even be the MVP. And I think the thing is, like you said, Taylor has more touchdowns and he only has 100 yards less. Cooper Kupp, just, you know, because you said everything about Taylor, he's got 132 catches, and that is astronomical. Like, I don't know necessarily if that's a record, but in my mind, I don't recall a receiver ever having 132 catches, not in a season. They have 2 more games to go. I would love for it to be, not just because I like a break from the monotony, and I know they want to throw Tom Brady in there because he's doing it because he's 44 and because, he's Super Bowl champ and he's with another team. I get that, but and Aaron Rodgers, he's the reigning champ. But also, these guys have already won MVP before several times, and this is becoming a young man's game now. Like, we got to let the young guys in. We got to show the young guys love. I mean, I understand that we're living the last couple of seasons that we might see these 2 guys play, and I get all of that. You know, especially if Aaron Rodgers wins the Super Bowl this year, he might just ride on off the glory. And I know Aaron Rodgers, he's got Brett Favre's touchdown record. He eclipsed Brett Favre's Green Bay touchdown record. Great, congratulations to him. Then he can have MVP for the Green Bay Packers this year. Like, he can have the team MVP, but he does not deserve the AP MVP of the league.
When I'm looking at other players doing what they're doing,
it has to be Taylor or it has to be Cooper Kupp.
It has
no
to
way
be
around it. And it would, like, you would definitely have this wrong. I remember back in 2003, Steve McNair should have had MVP by himself. And they did a co-MVP, and him and Peyton Manning had to split it. I didn't like it. Should have been Steve McNair all by himself. But but Peyton, the darling, I understand, I get it, but it should have been McNair all by himself. Like, y'all got that one wrong too. So, yeah, let's get it right this year, guys. It has to be one of these two guys, and I know that the storybook ending, because Tom Brady's 44 doing it, and they might repeat whatever the subplots and storylines you want to include with it. You have to give it to one of these two guys here. Like, there's no way around it. I mean, like, also with Jonathan Taylor, with Indy's record, every time he runs for 100 yards, Indy is undefeated.
They win.
They're undefeated. Yeah, they
Yeah.
are undefeated. That speaks volumes. And looking at like and going back to the thing with Cooper Kupp, I mean, I know a lot of people have tried to throw Matt Stafford's name in there too. And granted, yes, Stafford is the one throwing the ball to Cooper. But again, we got to take quarterbacks out of this. This is not the year for quarterbacks. It honestly is not the year for a quarterback to get the MVP. It has to be this receiver, or it has to be this running back. I mean, anything else, like Charles Barkley used to say on that deodorant commercial, anything else is uncivilized.
Civilized.
You gotta get this one to them, or you are going to have it wrong. So please get it right this year. Go with Cooper or go with Jonathan Taylor, and there is no other answer. All right, so now for the overtime segment, our picks for the week. No Thursday night games, all Sunday and Monday only, no Saturday games. At the moment, thankfully, no Tuesday games. We're just dealing with strictly Sunday and the last Monday night game of the regular season. So touchdown time for Atlanta and Buffalo. Who you rolling with?
Atlanta is at Buffalo. I think Buffalo is trying to feel themselves, and they got to keep that that AFC East going in their direction. So I think Buffalo is gonna win that game.
Yeah, me too. They're atop of New England right now temporarily. So yeah, they can't afford to slip on this one. Also, I'm never a fan of dome teams traveling to the elements in December, January weather. So I don't like Atlanta going to Buffalo, dealing with that either. So I'm going with Buffalo also. The Giants at Chicago. Who you like?
Chicago.
Yeah, I like Chicago too. Of course, I'm a huge on Nick Foles, and you saw Nick Foles got the win in Seattle last week. I know Justin Fields is like he's day to day. It's a possibility, but it's 2 more games. That's the future. Just let him rest and heal. Don't even play around with that.
Yeah, don't mess him up.
Yeah, just let him sit on ice. Go with Nick Foles. Go with the veteran. I know you're not really playing for anything. You got 4 wins. I know Matt Nagy. Nobody's really playing for Matt Nagy. There's just pride. But let Nick Foles go ahead and be the leader on the team. And Giants just got too much stuff going on. So I think that for Nick Foles led Chicago team, that the Bears should win it. Kansas City at Cincinnati. Wow, what a game this could be.
Yeah, but I done told you who I thought was Cincinnati gonna win that division. Now I told you that last week. Now you heard it here first.
Yeah, we both picked that. Yeah, we both picked that on that.
And I don't know, cause Cincinnati hot, but Kansas City hot too. Man, I don't know, cause COVID been wrecking everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know though, but it's hard for me to. It's gonna depend on Kansas City's defense. Because what Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase got going on is all types of problems, okay? And I don't know if they're going to be able to slow it down, stop it. So I think it's going to be dependent upon what Steve Spagnuolo going to be able to do on the defensive side of the ball because, I don't know. But I guess for me, I'm going to have to go with the veterans on this, and I'm going to have to ride with Kansas City.
That was the reason why I was looking at it too. Like, I know it's at Cincinnati, and I know that the Bengals Den is going to be live and pumping. And hey, who knows? We might see these 2 teams again in a few weeks in the playoffs. But when it boiled down to it, I give Steve Spagnuolo a slight advantage because he is going against a young quarterback. I think that he'll do a little bit more disguising with some of the blitzes and a lot more trickery on some of the lineups on the defense. and use that to the advantage. And when it boiled down to it, that's what I was looking at. The veteran Steve Spagnuolo, who's been a defensive coordinator in multiple Super Bowls. Kansas City, they've gone to 3 straight AFC championship games. Andy Reid, and how long he's been to several championship games and several Super Bowls. So I was looking at the veteran. That's ultimately what made me pick Kansas City in this game as well. But I would not be surprised if Cincinnati won. But just for those tangibles is why I was going with Kansas City. Miami at Tennessee.
Now that's gonna be the most interesting game because Miami, like, they're feeling themselves and they like to play that cover. They like to play that cover 0. And the fact that Tennessee has such a terrible offense, I mean, that offensive line is the worst I've seen. No, my offensive line is the worst I've seen. But anyway,
I don't know. Hold my beer for the Steelers.
I don't know. I don't know. Our offensive line is the worst.
We all
Okay,
in that together.
ours is terrible. But the way that offensive line is with the Titans, I don't see the Titans coming out of here unscathed, man. I just don't, because now they gotta rely on Ryan Tannehill to do it with his arm, and he ain't been that dude. And so I guess I gotta go with Miami on this one. But hold on, here's the thing though. The issue is this is gonna be a hard game to pick though. Because now that I'm thinking about it, the Titans, they are very good defensively. And if they can figure out a way how they can get to Tua and slow down Waddle and them, like, I don't know, we can have ourselves a ball game. And if anybody can do it, Mike Vrabel can do it. Because they all come out the same tree. So that's gonna be interesting.
I want Miami to win. I was like, Miami, of course, they started 1-7, and I was really thinking like it was over for Miami when they pulled the plug on that Deshaun Watson trade. I'll be honest and admit that. But I'm really proud of Miami, and I'm happy for Brian Flores because he was on the hot seat and kind of thrown under the bus and everything, and I'm happy for his rebound. I want Miami to win. The thing about Miami in this 7-game winning streak, in addition to the cover 0, they have won in so many versatile ways. 1 week it's been because of 2. 1 week it's been because of their special teams. 1 week it's been because of their defense. You just never, they have so much potency that they can bring. You never know how they're going to win, where usually it's either come down to somebody's defense or it's come down to quarterback play. Miami, you never know which element is going to give them the victory. That's what's been going on in their 7-game winning streak. It's come from so many different angles, and people want to dilute their wins like, they beat New Orleans without Winston and this, that, and the third. They're still getting the wins, and they're coming up with very creative ways of doing so. So I'm not going to downplay what they've done. I would not be surprised if Tennessee won because they're at home, but I don't know. I'm really sipping up on this Miami Vice colada here. I hope here. I'm definitely rooting for Miami on this one. Las Vegas at Indy.
I don't know. I don't see Las Vegas slowing the Colts down at all. I actually see John Taylor running for about $150.
Yeah, probably so. And the thing is, we just talked about Tennessee and Indy. They're both battling for the AFC South title. So I think Indy's just a game behind. I think they have like 6 losses to Tennessee's 5 or something like that. So both of them are in must-win situations. The Vegas has to do a whole lot of soul searching in this offseason. I'm hearing Carr might be gone. So I don't know. Like, he might be putting together himself a little resume tape going forward these last couple of games.
We'll take him in Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard 5 teams that Carr might go to next year. I've even heard Green Bay, I've heard Pittsburgh, I've heard Carolina, I've heard Cleveland. So I don't know.
I don't know. If he end up in Cleveland, Cleveland gonna be deadly though.
I mean, we'll see if he even goes. But when I was talking to a Raiders fan, and I was like, "So you think Carr's gone?" He was like, "I hope not." And he's like, I don't think he's completely responsible for our losses, but he's been a big part of it. So I don't know. So I don't like Carr might just be trying to either play because he don't care or trying to put together a resume tape for the rest of the season. But I like Indy at home, regardless to what Carr may or may not do. The Indy knows that the recipe to their success. They are 9-0 when Jonathan Taylor runs that ball 100 yards. So feed that man. You get him to 100, you're pretty much guaranteed to win. Don't mess up that formula. All right, so Jacksonville in New England.
Oh man, I'm gonna pick New England.
Yeah, New England definitely. No explanation needed. Carolina and New Orleans. This is an intriguing matchup for you guys in the division.
No, it ain't, because we a mess, New Orleans.
You think New Orleans will win?
Yeah. We have found every way to lose, okay? Every way to lose. And then, it's a mess in Carolina. New Orleans.
But New Orleans has too. I mean, one time they had a 5-game losing streak. And the only thing that saved them from that was they played the Jets to snap that.
And I'm picking New Orleans. New Orleans, most of their guys are coming back on the defense. We got people that are on COVID, on the COVID list. And they done said they gonna start Sam Darnold on the center. He's guaranteed to throw at least 2 interceptions, in my opinion. But hey, it's just New Orleans.
I forgot they got people coming back on defense. You got a good point there. All right, Tampa, who's already won the division at the Jets.
Tampa.
Definitely Tampa, without a doubt. Philly at Washington.
Oh, Philly feeling themselves. And I just don't think, here's the thing. I think Philly is on a mission to not just get in the playoffs, but to make statement wins at this point. And I'm telling you, the game to watch is going to be when they play Dallas next week. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the game of the week.
But see, that's part of the reason why I'm nervous for Philly on this one. I think they might overlook Washington a little bit because Washington just got blown out by Dallas. And I think Philly, this might be a trap game for Philly because they're looking so forward to playing Dallas.
No, I think they focus. I think they're focused.
Think so?
Here's the only issue that I have with Philly is that they don't have what's the running back name that broke his hand? He just broke his hand. He's a significant part of their offense too.
Oh gosh, what is his name though?
Scott's what's his name?
Girl, I know it ain't Hurts. His name is not
running back.
I know. I can't think of his name right now either. Gosh, I can't think of his name. I can't think of his name either. I don't know. They just played each other a couple weeks ago too. That's the crazy part.
Miles Sanders.
Yeah, Sanders.
And he's a big part of that offense.
He is. I don't know if Washington has given up, but I just want Philly to not overlook Washington looking ahead to Dallas or just looking at Washington.
Because you got to remember.
I mean, I hope not.
You got to remember that Philly has to win the rest of these games to even get in the playoffs. And they want to go. I think that Philly has found their identity in the run game, and I think that they're gonna run well. I think that's what they're gonna be.
Well, I'm not just overlooking Washington because of that, but looking at Washington like, dang, Dallas just blew them out. Like looking at them also is just weaker competition. I just hope they don't overlook them.
But see, I don't think they are, because you got to remember they just played Washington week before last.
I know, but Washington has gotten blown out by Dallas in between then though too.
But to me, I don't think that matters, because the first time they played them with a backup. So this time they got the regular, and they won't pick up. They don't want people saying, "Hey, y'all won with the backup." They want to win with the regular. They want to win with the guy.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm just saying, I just hope Philly does not do those two things. I'm not saying that they will. I just want them to take Washington serious. I hope they do. I think they'll be fine. I agree with you. I think that they'll win and be fine. And like you said, they definitely have to win those games. I just don't know
who they're gonna bring at running back. Like, that's a question, because Miles Sanders was a big part of their running back offense. So I don't know who's gonna pick up the torch. You know, that now that Miles Sanders has broken his hand.
But that might work in their advantage, because that makes them a little bit more unpredictable, and like Washington be unprepared. So I don't know. We'll see. Definitely we'll see. Denver at the Chargers.
Denver at the Chargers. Drew Lock played last week because Teddy's out for the remainder of the season. I think the Chargers will win.
You know, it's been an emotional week out there in the city of Denver as a whole. They had another mass shooting. 5 more people got killed. And so, of course, a lot of the Denver's players' hearts have been heavy as a result of that, and just, you know, just some distractions and stuff like that. Unfortunately, their attention has diverted to personal stuff as opposed to business, and that can serve as an unpleasant distraction. So I do think that they go in a little mind rattled as a result, emotionally. The Chargers currently out of the playoffs, and they have to. They're like the 8th spot. They have to win the last 2 games, which will both be division games for them. I'm rooting for Denver, like I had just said a little while ago, because I want to see how I'm examining this situation with just talent and on paper. I think that the Chargers should be able to handle them with no doubt there. Houston at San Fran.
Houston been shocking folk, ain't it? David Culley's been finding his stride, ain't it? And they got a quarterback with Davis Mills.
Davis Mills.
So I don't know, dog. Jimmy Garoppolo is injured. They've been doing very good against the run. Houston's been doing very good against the run. I don't know, girl. That's the one that I gotta be like, I don't know, question mark.
That one is a question mark. And then, you know,
Davis Mills done found himself. David Culley done found his stride for this team. This team done won 5 or 6 games now.
Yeah, they've been shocking some people.
They ain't even supposed to win no games.
Sure wasn't. And I really like the coach. I really like the he has a certain je ne sais quoi about him.
He's very old school. Yeah. I like him because he's very old school. He's very smash mouth football.
That's what it is. Very traditional old school. That's exactly what it is. Thank you. So it always worries me that, well, of course, Garoppolo's injury, but you got Trey Lance, and then also, Deebo Samuels is not 100% either. He's been in and out of the sideline. He really hasn't been 100% since earlier this season.
Is Elijah Hood back?
I don't know. That's a good point. I don't know. This was a tough one to pick. If it was at Houston, I definitely would say Houston. San Fran's got a lot of soul searching to do themselves with quarterback
But San Francisco ain't been winning at home either. They just won their first game at home a couple weeks ago.
That's true. That's true.
That's what I said, girl. I don't know.
Houston just won was it in Seattle? No, that was Chicago and Seattle. No, Houston
beat a major team last week.
I don't know. This one's tough. Because see, the fact that San Fran's not playing with their typical personnel, to me, that always makes a team unpredictable to me. It really does. Like, you can't really fully prepare for them with that intent. I don't know. This one's tricky. I don't know. I hope Houston wins.
Here's the thing. They just beat the Chargers last week.
The Chargers,
that's pretty darn good.
That's right. We just talked about that the previous quarter. That's right. They did. They beat them by definitely by double digits.
And it depends on how well Deebo Samuel is, and if they can stop the run. And they've been pretty good against the run. They have. So I don't know.
And see, I like Trey Lance a little bit more than I like Garoppolo in certain aspects of it.
But that Houston defense has been playing very well, though.
They really have, yeah. I don't know. That one's a tough one. I hope Houston wins, though. I do. I like their coach. Arizona at Dallas.
Girl, we just talked about this now. I don't know. Because Arizona ain't good against the run at all. They haven't been good against the run. And that started down the tube, not just with Green Bay, but I mean, even when even when Kyler Murray was out and the defense was healthy, when we played them, we stomped all over them. And all we did was run the football. That was it. And you know how bad our offensive line is. And you talking about Dallas got a 2-back system. So I don't know. I just have a hard time seeing. Here's the thing. I don't think it'll be here. I think it's going to come down to scoring. And I just don't see Arizona going blow for blow to be able to score for score with Dallas. I don't see that. No, so if they cannot stop them defensively, we might have a problem.
And you know you can't throw it to Diggs. You cannot throw it on Diggs' side. Dallas has not lost a game at home except for against Denver, right? That's the only.
They lost to the Raiders
at home. Okay. Okay. Because they're both dome teams. I don't know. Arizona is going backwards for me right now. I mean,
Arizona apparently plays better on the road.
They do, but this is the game for them. This is the measuring game
this needs to be their statement game to say our 8 and whatever wins ain't a fluke. Okay, this needs to be their statement win.
Especially that they don't lost 3 straight. Yeah, this will be a great way to kind of wipe out a lot of that. Gosh, because they could really lose 4 straight. That's a month's worth of games. I don't know. It's hard for me to pick against Dallas the way that they just demolished Washington. Of course, I'm not a Dallas fan, so I would pick Arizona off of that. But just statistically looking at it on paper, I don't know. Dallas is really clicking on cylinders right now. We'll see. Yeah, that's a toss up. Detroit at Seattle.
Yeah, Detroit. I don't know. Seattle should win, but Detroit's been playing pretty good. Remember now, Detroit is no longer the bottom team anymore. Jacksonville is.
Yeah, they're not number 1 draft pick anymore right now. Years ago, this was an automatic win for Seattle at home, and weeks ago, this was an automatic win. Yeah, and weeks ago, this was an automatic loss for Detroit, but they've been playing with some passion and some drive there.
They have, but I still think I think Russell Wilson got a little bit more pride than that. So I don't think he's gonna lose that game.
Yeah, I think Russell Wilson will be fine on this. I will give I'll give Seattle the edge strictly because of Russell Wilson. Agree with you on that. LA Rams at Baltimore. Of course, no Lamar Jackson at practice.
Look, I don't know why everybody acting. I told y'all how many weeks ago I told y'all this.
I'm waiting for the official that day that they say this is why I'm gonna tag you. Be like, Shalika told y'all
I told y'all this boy is not well. He playing. He been sick. And it ain't all been that ankle either. I keep telling y'all this. I keep telling you this. But y'all ain't gotta listen to me. But and they're playing who?
LA Rams at Baltimore. It's at 4:25. To me, I think LA got an advantage with that.
The Rams at Baltimore.
I give the fact that this game is not at 1 o'clock. That's a 1 o'clock game for LA instead of a 10 o'clock in the morning game for them. They're playing at 4:25.
Let me see here.
And Baltimore got on them all black uniforms. They rough at home in them all black uniforms.
Well, Baltimore just plays really well at home, but is that Huntley kid gonna be available?
I don't know. I just saw that Lamar Jackson didn't go to practice today. That was the only thing.
Well, here's the thing though. That Huntley kid he's not bad. He's not bad.
Well, Baltimore lost.
And because like I said, remember they were about to beat Green Bay with the backup. So he's not bad. It's just a matter of because the Huntley kid, he can throw and he can run. But
Right.
it's just a matter of, is he back? Because I knew he was on COVID protocol.
Mm.
So
I don't know why.
I don't know. The Rams supposed to win, but I don't know.
The fact that the Rams are playing this game, like mentally, it's a 1:25 kickoff for them, not a 10 o'clock kickoff. So I give that, to me, works in their favor a little bit more. Telling you, boy, but some about Baltimore and they're all black. If Harbaugh don't pull out, keep going for 2 and just let Justin Tucker be great because he is.
Right. And tie the ball game going something else.
Yeah. Baltimore's
That's 2 games that they lost like that.
Yeah. Baltimore's defense has been reeling. And then you're coming in here with a possible MVP candidate in Cooper Kupp, Odell out there. You got Jalen Ramsey, who's starting to come back to the Jalen Ramsey that we remember in Jacksonville. Ugh. I don't know. But something about Baltimore being at home makes them
they
very
play well
potent.
at home.
It's very potent at home, yeah. You know what else might work in Baltimore's favor? Kansas City and Cincinnati game will be over by then, probably. So if Baltimore catches wind that Cincinnati has lost, because Baltimore everybody still has a shot at winning that division. Crazily, nobody's out of this division in the AFC North. So if Cincinnati loses, if they find out a kickoff that Cincinnati has lost, Baltimore is going to play with a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder and still try to get the division. I don't know. This one's tough to pick. It's a lot of tough games to pick because the stakes are so high and everything with these playoffs. And if you're gonna be back with the team next year, who coach gonna be safe? And division titles up for stake. I don't know. Of course, I'm going for Baltimore, but going for LA. Gosh, will we really see Baltimore lose 4? What would it be? 4 games? 5 games?
They got a lot of injuries though. So they got injuries and sickness, and they got a whole bunch of stuff happening in Baltimore.
They do. In a goofy, a coach acting goofy. I don't know. I want Baltimore to lose, but just something about them losing 5 straight, I just cannot put that in a sentence. I want them to, but I just at home too. I don't know. They might toss Ray Lewis, activate him. I don't know. I don't know. That one's tough. Who you picking on that one?
I'm gonna go with the Rams because I feel like just the Rams are just in a better place, personally.
We've seen them act a fool too, though, for 3 straight games.
We have, and it's hard to beat Baltimore at home. So and here's the thing: it's hard to beat Baltimore at home. I don't know what it is about playing in Baltimore's house, but it's hard to beat Baltimore at home.
It is.
But I think that they just got so much going. I think that now, listen, it could go either way. It really could. But it's going to depend on how well. Who's under center for Baltimore? To me, that's what it's gonna matter.
Gotcha. My heart says I want the Rams to win, but I think Baltimore might pull it off. I honestly do. I wouldn't be surprised either way, but I want the Rams to win. Minnesota at Green Bay is the Sunday night primetime game. Who you like?
Here's the thing. Minnesota already beat Green Bay already once this season, right? But how cool would it be if Minnesota beat them again? Because then that would really knock Aaron Rodgers out of that MVP conversation.
Man, yeah, that would be crazy. Is
Dalvin Cook back?
I don't know. But honestly, I don't think that matters. I don't think, because of Aaron Rodgers is such a petty diva and he takes everything to heart and he's such a lady with this type of stuff. I don't think that he's gonna let Minnesota sweep them. And plus, they got the number 1 spot, and they have a little bit of a cushion, but I don't think he wants to relinquish that. I think Aaron Rodgers even though they had number one spot last year and Tom Brady came and beat them. I think Aaron Rodgers is on this. I'm telling you, he's on this petty revenge tour this year. He done already got Brett Favre's touchdown passing record. I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers is just he better not get the MVP though. But yeah, I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers is just no, Minnesota, you're not beating me twice. I don't care who you got out there. I don't know. I
don't know because it just depends on how Minnesota. Because if Minnesota is just going in there like we don't care, like here's the thing: I've seen Minnesota go into a game and be like, "Look, we not losing," and they play like they not losing. So
a few weeks ago,
and you got to think Kirk Cousins is playing like a madman this year. So I don't know, dog. And I just looked, Dalvin Cook is supposed to be back, so that means the run game should be on fleek. So I don't know, dog. And that defense has not been top notch like usual.
Right, that's true. That's true.
And where they playing at in Green Bay?
It's at Green Bay.
Green Bay don't like to lose at home though.
They really don't.
It's hard to lose in Green Bay. I mean, win in Green Bay. It's hard to win in Green Bay. I don't know. I can see this going either way too.
I got you. If Minnesota hadn't already beat Green Bay, I probably would consider a little bit more, but I just don't know if Aaron Rodgers is gonna like just let that sweep happen on his clock. Kirk Cousins sweep too. Whew, I don't know. They gonna let him live that one down. We'll see. And so the last Monday night game of the regular season, another division game, Cleveland at Pittsburgh. And these two teams, they have an advantage because they'll know what happens to Baltimore the day before, and they'll know what happens to Cincinnati the day before.
It's a whole lot of problems in Cleveland, dog. A whole lot.
Yeah.
I don't know, because this is a toss-up. Where y'all playing at in Pittsburgh?
It's in Pittsburgh. This is Ben's last home game. I'm like,
oh yeah, he's not gonna lose his last home game. I don't think he's gonna lose his last home game.
No, Pittsburgh typically does well on Monday nights too. Typically. Matter of fact, we got away with one against Chicago early. Chicago should have won that game. We definitely had help from the referees, but also we should have lost the game. It was a game before we barely beat Chicago that we should have lost. We was on that 5-game winning streak. I can't remember who it was the week before that, but we should have lost the week before. Then we had barely beat Chicago, but I don't know. I just think the fans, this being Ben's last home game is what I'm looking at it like. Nah, it's not about talent. I promise you, it's not about talent.
Yeah,
I don't
suspect that they lose his last home game.
Nah, I think they're just gonna turn up for that. And plus Pittsburgh has to go to Baltimore the next week. So yeah. And the way that they lost as bad as they did to Kansas City, they got to get their face back. Like, come on, boys. Like, we got to tighten up. We got to.
So, yeah, I'll give y'all that edge.
Yeah. For that reason and that reason alone, I would go with it because it's Ben's last home game. It's definitely not impressive from the team perspective. Alrighty, so there are our picks as well with this episode of WTF Too. Again, we dedicated it to the loving memory of John Madden, legendary John Madden. Of course, a very core part of the significance of NFL when it comes to commentating, broadcasting, coaching, video games world, all that good stuff. Touchdown Time Boy, of course, we're at the end of 2021. Next time will be 2022 when we record again. Any types of resolutions you have or anything you're looking forward to other than the launch of your own personal stuff as well in 2022? Anything else you're looking forward to for the new year?
I just hope everybody has a happy, safe, and prosperous new year. Be safe out in these streets. People doing some crazy stuff.
Absolutely.
Just maintain your focus and be grateful. Just be grateful.
Definitely. Health and wealth. It's crazy that now that we're moving into 2022, we're heading into almost 2 years of COVID, and it's definitely another year to be thankful, grateful, and reflect on how things used to be, how things are, and look for the future as well. But it's definitely, you have to sit back, if nothing else for 2021, just to be grateful. Definitely, because with the way this pandemic has gone, taking people's lives, taking people's jobs, taking people's money and livelihood and insanity even, definitely have to take a moment just to reflect and be grateful for what 2021 has brought you through, brought you to, and just look forward to much more prosperity, health, and wealth in 2022. And I think honestly, for the both of us, I really feel like football has been a method of therapy for the both of us when we look at the grand scheme of things. So yeah, definitely.
I'd say so.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So we appreciate you guys once again for tuning in, and for the comments and the commentary and Touchdown Time Boy. I'm always grateful for you, not just Christmas or the holidays. Definitely appreciate you. So shout out to you for sure. All right, good people. So once again, we thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of WTF Too. Touchdown Time Boy, Gridiron Goddess Joe Madden. Rest in peace again to the incomparable John Madden. Thank you all again so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. We out.
We're out.